Early the next morning, Aero sat on the top corner platform of the geometric stabilizers in the Great Hall. Watching everything going on below, he was unsure of what to do. He had never had friends before, nor did he know how to go about making them. Are we supposed to hang out every day? Oh man, this stuff is confusing. I should just give them some space. Yeah, they're just settling in. That makes sense. Aero could see Ava tucked away in the corner reading a book, but Rael was nowhere to be found. Where's the elf? From the lightless corner behind him, Rael silently appeared. Nearly invisible, he remained perched in darkness, studying Aero. You know, it's pretty impressive that you were able to sneak up on me just by using a small shadow, Aero said without moving a muscle. Rael was caught off guard as if he was not used to being spotted. How is it you sensed me when I had not yet fully left the veil? Rael asked, undoubtedly intrigued. Well, at first I didn't know where you were, but once you peeked out of the shadow, or whatever it is, Aero pointed to his nose, grinning. I could smell you. Rael laughed in an awkward, boastful way. Aero enjoyed the companionship, happy to feel seen by someone, even if just for a moment. When the breakfast bell rang, they hopped down, grabbing a plate before finding their way to the same seats as yesterday. A moment later, Ava took her place across from them. You got yourself a pretty nice setup here, kid. That headmaster is a hoot, Ava said. No longer dumbstruck by Ava's presence, Aero's normal, chirpy self could finally surface. Don't tell me you fall for that blob's greasy act. I think he's kind of sweet once you get over the smell, Ava replied. He's just being nice because he plans to sell you to the GA when you're old enough. That's what he does with anyone who has, as he calls it, potential. What do you mean sell? Are we slaves here? Ava fired back. No, not exactly. Everything happening here is written down and kept in the headmaster's office. When someone shows up, like you two, if they have nowhere to go, they're brought here. Grant arranges for the Galactic Alliance to gather them when they are the appropriate age. He shows them the books and gets paid based on the value of each being he takes care of. What an interesting place we've been brought. Well, none of that bothers us, right, Rael? We could use some special treatment, Ava said with a laugh. How does that not bother you? Aero replied. We're trying to get back to the Forger, our home. The only way to do that is to go to the academy, which means we're looking for any way to get there. If we get taken care of while we wait, that's fine by me. Aero had no immediate response. I guess it hasn't been that long since Hanzo and Ren left. How have I not recognized the comfort this place truly provides? Aero's thought was genuine, but his need to continue the playful argument was stronger. He looked up at her from his critter meat breakfast sandwich. Do you have any special abilities, Ava? You know, like super speed or strength? We already know you can spit venom, Aero joked, earning him a small smile from Rael. Well, I'd say I know a little something when it comes to fighting. However, I know even more about healing people than I do hurting them, Ava bragged, crossing her arms. Aero stared at Rael for a moment, then back at Ava, before erupting into boisterous laughter, disrupting the entire hall. What? You don't think I'm tough? She replied. Rael started to laugh, but quickly stopped after catching a sharp look from Ava. It's not that, it's just, look at you, and then look at us, Aero replied, pointing out Ava's femininity. Fine. When we got off the orbital transport, I believe I saw a bridge leading out of town. How about you meet me there in an hour? Ava calmly challenged. She stood and walked away, leaving her breakfast as she headed for the sleeping area. Aero and Rael remained seated, but only Aero continued to laugh until she was out of sight. When the time came, they made their way to the bridge. Aero joked about how he was going to outclass and maybe even embarrass her. He knew he was bigger, stronger, and most likely faster than Ava. Considering all the training he'd been doing with Liaison Till, he knew there was no way he could lose, even if Ava had a few tricks up her sleeve. Approaching the small bridge where the water from the mountains connected with resupply, they could see Ava, sitting with her legs crossed and her hands evenly placed in her lap. What's she doing? Aero whispered to Rael. She's meditating, preparing for combat. Entering the narrow space between the guardrails of the bridge, Aero stopped within several paces. Hey, you ready to do this? I won't back down just because you're a girl, Aero said, stomping his foot down as a forceful warning. He was at the perfect distance now. Ava took the show of bravado as a sign the fight had begun and launched a surprise attack. Picking herself up with only her hands, she spun, kicking Aero's forward foot out from under him and knocking him straight to his butt. In the same continuous motion, she coiled her entire body and sprang forward off her hands, kicking Aero in the face. Rolling backwards, Aero pondered the seriousness of what he'd gotten himself into. Trying to summon a bit of anger, he got to his feet and charged. Ava's unquestionable grace allowed her to sidestep with ease and then land 5 punches to Aero's side in quick succession. The consuming action made the three blind to the audience watching from above. Stretching his arms and neck, Aero could feel a slight sensation building in his stomach. Before he could even turn around, Till dropped from his silently floating transport. Like a superhero, he landed right in between them. "What have I told you about fighting, Aero?" Till screamed, his suit adapting to the protruding crown of finned spikes around his head. Rael and Ava hadn't met Liaison Till yet, and his primal form was quite an unsettling first impression. "You two, welcome to Resupply. Don't let me catch you fighting either. Now, all of you, back to the center before I dock your food rations," Till commanded. Without hesitation, all 3 kids took off running across the bridge back into town, Ava and Rael laughing and teasing Aero as they did. Most would be upset by such a harsh lesson, but Aero seemed to only become more infatuated with Ava. "It's nice to see you with friends," Till shouted as they ran away. Aero turned back to acknowledge Till, only to see a fraction of his power as the liaison effortlessly jumped 30 yards into the air where his transport was hovering. Catching his potential friends, they ran across the rooftops, racing each other until they arrived at the market. Pausing to catch their breath, Aero was having the time of his life. As the sound of exhausted breathing slowed, it was replaced by Ava's laughter. "What's so funny?" Aero asked as they landed on a rooftop overlooking the center of the market. "Oh, just that I totally kicked your butt back there," Ava bragged. Before Rael or Aero could say anything in response, she jumped from the rooftop, grabbing hold of a loose canopy to gently guide herself down. "That girl's crazy," Aero said to Rael, who already jumped after her, laughing as he did. Aero stayed back for a few seconds, savoring the moment with his potential newfound friends. With them both now staring up at him from below, Aero felt an exciting but slightly frightening sensation randomly convince him to show off. Taking 2 powerful steps, Aero jumped into the air. Tucking his legs and swinging his head back, he flipped majestically for a moment. When it came time for the landing, he began to flail like a newborn. Crashing into an empty shop, Aero laid on the ground in shock. Covered in debris, he pondered the level of mortification, the likes of which he did not know existed. Clearing himself off, Aero paused, catching the beady eyes of the band of Jerpas, whose performance he had once again interrupted. They glared at him, appalled by the ruckus. The looks of extreme disapproval on their pudgy, pushed-in faces only made the moment more hysterical. "This is amazing! All the colors, the sounds. Oh, this reminds me of home," Ava said in wonder. "If you like this, just wait until the next cruiser arrives. It's 10 times more colorful, especially at night," Aero awkwardly blurted. Rael and Ava were infatuated and paid no attention to Aero's attempt to move past the embarrassing moment. "Look, Rael, each shop is built around a small ship of some kind. Look. Have you ever seen anything like it? Oh, those ones are matching. It's almost like they're meant to be a set." "Oh, those are, what's the name? It's the something module. Oh yeah, those are Gen 2 Magmods," Rael said with a smile. "And what does Magmod stand for?" Ava questioned, taking a closer look at the branded decals etched into the exterior panels of the curious ships. "Well, the title stands for Magnetic Modules," Rael explained. "Pretty standard tech, although nowadays they are mainly used as accessory functions on other ships like escape pods. Great for pulling up, setting up camp, and leaving in a hurry when necessary. You see, the funny thing is..." "How interesting," Ava said, cutting Rael off. "I think I'm going to go have a look over there. You enjoy," Ava sassed as she walked away. Aero watched his new potential friends explore the heart of the marketplace, inspecting scraps of metal and wood crafted into detailed oddities never in short supply. From the rooftops above, it appeared to be an everyday market. Once inside, however, the colors projected throughout the layered canopies by the artificial sun created a kaleidoscope of wonder. Blanketing the vibrant sights was the wonderful smell of edible morsels. Be careful of the food, there is a different standard in the market. Aero could tell no one was listening. The sweet humming rhythms of Jerpin Lo-Fi was too entrancing. The performance had drawn Rael's curiosity. The dark elf stared like he had never seen such a spectacle. Who or what are they? Rael asked, his ears flickering to fully catch the tune. Well, I don't know their names, Aero said, but they are Jerpas. Small, stout gremlins of varying color. You can easily spot them by their pushed-in faces and decorated horns. Trust, that music will soon drive you mad. Just give it time. Rael's interest leapt to something he found delicious at the nearest food stand. He walked away without saying anything, tempting fate by chowing down on some grilled lizard kebabs. Looking across the way, he saw Ava had begun the long process of haggling a gangly gerb for a sequence metal necklace. It's days like this that this little town shows its charm, Aero thought. Slithering up to the remains of the destroyed shop, Nurse Kisa followed a trail of rubble and debris towards the one responsible. Aero, what is this? Are we destroying the town again? Come over here and pick this up, Kisa demanded. Snapping to attention, Aero scurried over to the destroyed shop. Wow, are you a Najin? Homo serpentis? Ava shouted upon approach, sporting her new shiny necklace. Rael was not far behind, still enjoying his last kebab. Ah, yes, the new girl. I don't believe I've had the pleasure of formally introducing myself. I'm Nurse Kisa. Welcome to our usually quiet town of resupply, she said, looking back at Aero, who was picking up pieces of broken wood. Nurse, huh? You sure don't look like a nurse, Ava rebutted, gesturing to Kisa's long, scaly tail. Taking Ava's condensation in stride, Nurse Kisa coiled around until she faced the young newbie eye to eye. Well, I can see you are the smartest of the bunch, she replied before continuing. My door is always open, and even though this is a small town, I always seem to be busy. So if you're ever interested, you can come by and help, or to learn a few things, Kisa said, sounding earnest. She then slithered right between Ava and Rael, beginning to make her way out of the market. The silence still holding, Kisa abruptly stopped and curled around. Gathering as much sass as she could muster, she fired back. Like maybe learning some manners. Ava was speechless, watching in open-mouthed shock as Nurse Kisa slithered away. Rael was uninterested, mysteriously returning with more lizard kebabs. Once the cleanup was done, the three new friends took to the rooftops and headed for the refugee center. They each had their own reasons for turning in early. Aero was still suffering from post-embarrassing moment syndrome. Ava muttered to herself about the run-in with Kisa. Then there was poor Rael, who was praying that his fourth trip to the bathroom would be his last.